What was your "I don't get paid enough for this" moment at work? Worked at a fast food place about 13 years ago. This lady in the drive-thru claimed she was missing a sandwich. Our policy was to ask for the bags back to verify. I asked to see the bags, 3 or 4, decent-sized order, and instead of handing them back like a civilized human being, she instantly started raging and throwing the food into the window while cussing me out. Guess what one of the items that she threw at me was? Yep, said missing sandwich. I walked into the bathroom, and someone had smeared poop on literally every single surface, wall, everything except one small part of the ceiling they couldn't reach. Picasso almost made me quit, but luckily my boss told me to lock it, not let anyone else use it, and he got someone to come with a pressure washer. We used to be paid half salary to attend seminars related to our industry that grant professional development hours. These seminars would often be at 7 a.m. at a hotel that was about a 2-hour drive for me, if I was lucky, in rush hour traffic to get to, but hey, it was paid and had free breakfast, so waking up at 4:30 to attend wasn't the worst thing in the world. The company announced that they believed attending the seminars was furthering our knowledge, therefore helping the company, and therefore helping us, so we would no longer be paid to attend them but were still expected to go. I just said fuck that and haven't attended a single one since then and delete all the invite emails. I'm paid hourly, so taking the approximately 6 hours out of my day to drive and attend a seminar I am not being paid for is just plain stupid. I was asked why I haven't gone to any and told them I have a mortgage to pay. Haven't been asked to go again since. Edit, holy crap, my inbox. Wanted to throw a few comments out cause I've been bombarded. I believe the above situation arose when the company realized the licensed PEs were required to attend the seminars for development hours regardless, so they could get away with not paying. The company threw out that BS line to try to guilt us into going, but those of us who are not required to get the hours can't be forced to go. I have already told them, as I mentioned above, that I have a mortgage to pay and am not going to attend anything without pay. I have not been reprimanded for it because, as many of you have been pointed out, that would be illegal and they know it. I am, quite literally, not getting paid enough to deal with that shit. My boss insisted that everybody be at their desks at 8:30 sharp. She made me take roll on an attendance sheet and hand it into her every day. She also made me do it at lunchtime, when everybody left and came back, and when they left at night. Took roll for a bunch of adults 3 times a day. I don't work there anymore. I had an emergency, last-minute 20,000 word translation that needed to be done in under 24 hours. The usual output for a translator is 2,000 words per day, including proofreading and editing. I don't know how, but I managed to bash it out. Not my best quality translation ever, but I got it done. Edit, I'd like to point out that I did get many thanks from my actual boss. I also just remembered I did get a thank you email. Posted before this. This was back in the late 90s. I was working at Walmart as my first job as a teenager. I was floated to the garden department one day and there was a guy looking at lawn fertilizer. I walked over and asked if he needs help. He said, "Not now, just looking at the different kinds you have." Pretty standard reply from the guy, so I said, "Okay, let me know." I walk away, and then swing back about 5 minutes later. Same guy has proceeded to rip open about 10 different kinds of the fertilizer all over the ground and is rolling around in the stuff. He is also taste sampling the stuff. I called my manager because I did not want to deal with it. Security escorted the guy out the store and called an ambulance in case the ingestion of the fertilizer hurt him. Got change thrown in my face at work because a man was upset we didn't have meatballs. Now if I'm working he'll come in, see me, and walk out. Edit, I work at Subway lol. Edit 2, I'm sorry if I don't reply to you, I keep getting a lot of comments and have to work with what I got lol. The time I went to sleep under my desk at work at 5 a.m. because I needed to be back at my desk for an 8 a.m. call. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would never sleep under my desk. I would go home, or just work straight through, but I wouldn't do that. I only lived a 12-minute walk home, but that night I realized that getting those extra 24 minutes of sleep were worth not going home. I was so sad about it. I am a corporate lawyer. We had been working, literally, around the clock for days on a deal that was going sideways. This was a Wednesday to a Thursday morning, but I had been there until 3 a.m. Sunday night, 5 a.m. Monday night, 6 a.m. Tuesday night, and had been back in the office by 9 a.m. every day. That's when I knew I needed to quit, but I'm still here a year and change later, oops. I worked in SROs in the middle of the roughest part of my city. I frequently have to identify drug dealers, report them, get them banned, and then enforce the ban. I get threatened by them a lot, usually just with fists or knives. I don't mind that so much. If they come at me with a knife, then the cops actually bust them and then they're out of my hair for good. Well, one guy just kind of laughed at me and said I'd regret it if I kept getting in his way. Which people say, though usually more aggressively, and I don't put much stock into it. Then he gave me his name and just told me to Google him. Turns out he's the son of one of the more violent crime families in the area. They're connected to like 40 targeted killings, and a lot of them are guys like me getting gunned down in parking lots. At that point I backed the fuck off. $20 an hour is not enough to fight the fucking mob. Edit, because apparently people don't know what an SRO is and are angry about it, single room occupancy. An old man rushed inside our store, literally running to the bathroom, but still managed to shit himself and all over the floor before he could make it. Right in the most open, spacious part of the store. Edit, wow, this is my most popular response ever. I don't know if I am excited or disappointed. To add further detail, this was at a combination Circlic Subway store. I worked the Subway side. So it was one of the Circlic employees that actually cleaned it. And what I meant about it being out in the open, was that we're the busiest store in our district, so even with a pile of shit is on the ground, we've got people still trying to come in and out, and it's very visible, and it took a little while for my friend on the Circlic side to actually get the cleaning supplies together. So a good chunk of people came in, saw the shit, shrugged it off and still got their pack of cigarettes, saw the shit, did a double take and just went right back out the door. And we're in a big retirement area, so this kind of thing actually happens often, though most times, it's mainly something that happens in the bathroom itself. Direct support staff for people with minor disabilities. $13 an hour, had a client go off the rails because he refused to take schizophrenia pills, was working night shift and he gets up in the middle of the night and starts yelling random things, running around the house naked, peeing on everything, asking for me to put a cowboy hat on him. He is now in a nursing home, bless his soul. Edit, yes, he got his cowboy hat, LMAO. I was one of 50 or so 12 to 17-year-olds working on this farm harvesting tobacco. Most of the kids were illegal, but I was just 17 and homeless and couldn't get a job cause I didn't have an ID or any paperwork. I'd started hanging out with the Hispanics because they were the ones who got under the table jobs. We got there at 6, lunch at 1, leave at 8. It's summer and it's the heat of the day. A couple hours after lunch and this young girl, not more than 14, working alongside me suddenly passes out and will not wake up. I called for help, and one of the guys watching over us walked over all slow and unconcerned. Can you wake her up? I said I couldn't. All right. Let's bring her to the house. I picked her up and carried her there. He had me set her down by a tree in the shade and then disappeared into the house. I didn't know what to do and I'm panicking, so I pour water on her forehead and take off her long sleeves. You have to cover every part of your skin when working with that much tobacco or else you'll get sick. A few minutes pass. She's breathing rapidly and shallowly and I'm still freaking out. So I yell to this other guy who's supervising us and he just says, "Did someone call an ambulance?" I said no, shit. So he calls the ambulance and then comes over and basically just watches me as I try to cool this girl down. As soon as they get there, all the supervisors tell me to go back to work and I don't get to talk to the EMTs. I never saw them ask any of the other Hispanic kids for her name or anything. I don't know if she came there alone or they just didn't notice. My supervisor later told me the EMTs said she was having a serious heat stroke. Never heard how she turned out. I just went back to work. It was pretty good money compared to what I was used to. They used to make us leave our water jugs by the barn because they thought we slowed down too much with all our hydration, allowing us about 10 minutes every 2 hours to drink up. We had to wear hot-ass long sleeves and gloves and jeans. I remember drinking so much water I threw up, then drinking more cause I'd just lost it all lol. That really taught me how much a hat helps you when you're in the sun all day. There were thousands of acres that all needed to be harvested and put up in less than 2 weeks. We did it in a little more than 4 days. Payment was $50 a day. That's the hardest I ever worked. Life isn't worth living if you work that hard. Those Hispanic kids, though, they were insane. Never saw them complain. They'd just sing and joke if they said anything. That girl was dead silent up till the heat stroke. I still remember that. I don't know if places like that are still around, but they shouldn't be. I work in childcare. There was one time we had one kid who had a diaper blowout and one kid who puked everywhere. There's only 2 teachers, so one has to handle the blowout and one the vomit, while also keeping the rest of the kids away from it all. I don't think you understand what a contract means. Besides, this is an opportunity for you. When the new manager tried to move me to night shifts weekend from my day shifts working days despite my contract being very specific about when I worked. "Hey, you were right, this is a big opportunity for me," was how I opened when I told her I was quitting. The look of shock and 15 minutes of silence on her part were hilarious, and the best feeling interval of my entire life when she realized I had thrown her own stupid words back at her.